In this video, I'd like to give you just a couple of tips about how to organize your research in Logos. The main project for this class is going to be a paper on Genesis 3, so it'd be helpful at the very beginning of class to think through how you want to organize the research you're going to be doing on this passage. I want to give you just a couple of tips about how to go about that in your Logos Bible software. The first is to set up a layout that you like for studying Genesis 3. So what you might want to do is go to your library and open your Lexham Hebrew Bible. Let me take that out. There it goes. Find your Lexham Hebrew Bible. Open that up. And one of the things you can do in your Lexham Hebrew Bible is you can turn on this parallel column or multiple resource display here. So you have your Hebrew Bible open. And we might even want to turn our visual filter on if you don't have that on already from Hebrew grammar class. So we have that on. You can also use this multiple resource display and display an English text side by side with it that will track together without having to have another window open. So I do that quite often. Sometimes you can even add up to 3 if you want to add, say, the Septuagint to this. You could say, I want the Septuagint in here as well. And let's say we want that, okay, and come down, and then you'll have the Septuagint, the English, and the Hebrew. Now you might need to make that a little bigger if you want to do that, or if you'd rather not have the Septuagint, you could take that off and just keep those two on. So just depending on how you want it set up, I kind of like it having it like this, where you have the Hebrew and English side by side here. And then you want to see what resources you have to help you with studying Genesis 3. So you can go to your library and just see what commentaries you have on Genesis. You can type Genesis, and then if you go down here and click where it says Bible commentary, you can click on that, and that will let you know, like Logos is telling me, I have 45 commentaries on Genesis, and I'm just going to pick what I think are going to be the best ones here. I have this in the book cover layout, which is probably my favorite way of looking at that. You can, of course, change that and do this, lots of different ways. The detail view, the tile view, whatever seems to work better for you. As I look at this, I'm going to say, okay, I want the New American Commentary. Then you have to go back here. Oh, this is Nahum Sarna's, the JPS commentary. You might not have that in your Logos. I'm going to get, this is the Nikot by Victor Hamilton. Excellent commentary there. So I'm going to grab that. That one, by the way, is available as a PDF on the library website, library.moody.edu, if you don't have it in Logos. Gordon Wenham, his Word Biblical Commentary is an excellent one. So if you don't have that, you might want to look in the library for that. This is the NIV Application Commentary by John Walton. That's really good. And you can just kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm looking for what are the best commentaries I have on Genesis. I might want to open the Bible Background Commentary, the IVP 1-volume commentary there. And, you can look down and see, what else you have, if there are other things that you'd want to include. And so, like Westermann down there might be interesting to read in the Continental Commentary. But anyway, you get all your main commentaries open there that you're going to be working with. So now you have your Hebrew text, you've got an English translation, and you've got your main commentaries. You may have more than this or fewer than this in Logos. You might want to open your lexicon too. Now you can do that just by double clicking on a word in Hebrew, and that should open up your Halot. And depending on where you want to put this, you might want to put this kind of in a window down here. Just think of what way makes the most sense for you. I typically have it like that, so you can have it both ways. And then once you get it laid out the way you like it, maybe you want the information window up, you click here and do save as a named layout and save it as your Genesis paper layout. Now you're going to want to be building a bibliography as a part of this. So an easy way to get started with that is to go to your docs, open a new bibliography. And you're going to want to title it. Let's say you title it your Genesis 3 paper. And make sure you have it to the right. The SBL Handbook of Style will give you the right format. Or you can do Turabian. They're roughly the same, but SBL Handbook of Style is essentially Turabian tailored for biblical studies resources. And then what you can do, there's two ways you can start building this. If you know you want to cite everything you have open on your screen, you can add all open resources. Or if you just want some, just grab a little clip from that resource and drag it over, and now see how it builds your bibliography. It's going to have it cited correctly there. And then you do that to each one. Like I said, you can do that to each one, or let me X these out. If you know you want to cite everything you have currently open, you can just say add all open resources, and boom, there you go. You may realize, I don't need to cite the ESV version. You could take that out, and then just leave these other things on. So that gets you started with a bibliography, and then you can always add to it. The best way to add to it, if you run across a new resource in Logos, you can of course add it in this way, or you can export this as a Word document. So you can say, I want to export this, send to a new Word document. See that there? And boom, it'll go there. You can save it as a Word document. And now this is because of the settings I have set in Word. It does this. You really want this probably single spaced. So you can mess with your formatting here to make sure you have this right. You're going to want the names back. This is more because of the settings I have in Word, why this didn't come out quite right. But you see how it comes through, and it comes through with the right format, which is really, really helpful. You might have to occasionally double check it, but so far these all look good. The Turabian style, or the SBL Handbook of Style, is right on. And now what you can do, now that you have this, when you find new sources, like on the library website, you can just add them in and keep your bibliography current, as a saved Word document, which would be a really helpful way. Unfortunately, I have not figured out how to add a resource you don't have in Logos into this Logos bibliography. So you have to export it to a Word document and then add other sources that you're using that aren't a part of Logos. Another thing that would be really helpful to do is, as you're doing your research, maybe you are going through and you have a question about how to translate this off, or you have an observation about it, and you want to save that question you have or that observation you made on that word somewhere. I'd encourage you to start a new notebook for this paper. So you can go down to Tools, to Notes, click on Notes, and if you go to this book thing, we have notebooks, and you can create a new notebook by hitting the plus button and just add a new notebook. I don't really want to create a new notebook right now. I already created one earlier called Genesis 3 Paper. So here's our Genesis 3 Paper notebook. So now you have a notebook created, which is a place to store your observations related to this paper. And there you go. You can rename it if you need to or whatever. So we have it like that. And now, if I have an observation I want to make, I can add a new note. See, here's the note, add a note, boom, to the Genesis 3 paper. And then here's where you take a note. You can type in, what is the best way to translate this word in this context? You just realize that's kind of an awkward word here. Is this starting a question, or is it not a question? That's one of the interpretive debates here in Genesis 3:1. So that just highlights you to remember that, and then it puts a little anchor in your Hebrew Bible right to that note, so you can get to it multiple different ways. You can also take notes in your commentaries. So as you're reading through your commentaries, like, oh, the serpent has been a creature of mystery. This is from the Nahum Sarna commentary, and maybe you find something in here that you really like. Oh, there's some cultural context here that will be really helpful, and you want to, maybe you're going to highlight that, and you can take a note with it. Okay, I want to take a note, and I want to add that to my notebook. So make sure you're clicked on the right notebook and say something like, helpful cultural context for the serpent. I don't know if that is or not. I'm not making any value judgments on Sarnum's comment here. I'm just illustrating how to use this. And so you click on that and it anchors it to the text that you have, and it'll put a note here in your commentary as well. So now when you're writing your paper, sometimes you may wonder like, oh, where did I read that? Where did I find that? Coming to your notebook is a really easy way of being able to see, what kinds of things did I highlight? What notes did I make within Logos as a part of my research? And then if you're using a resource that's not in Logos, like maybe you're reading a journal article or another commentary that's not in Logos, you can always add notes to the biblical text in Logos where maybe that observation was made that was really helpful. Just add a note and include it at this point in your notebook for your Genesis 3 paper. And then you have all your research compiled in one place. When you go to actually write your paper, you can draw from it, you know where they're from, you know how to cite them, and those sorts of things. One last note, as you're writing your paper, if you want to be able to cite things, let me just open a blank Word document. And let's say you're typing along here, sample typing, and you want to add a citation here of one of your commentaries. And a great way to do that is just to copy, like let's say you want to cite Sarna's commentary here, just copy a little bit of it, Control C. You can paste it in here and then delete this part. If you're not going to actually quote the text, you just want to reference the commentary, you'll notice that it put a footnote in. And what I've noticed with this is the format, when it comes into Word, is not exactly right. And I don't know why it does this, but it will have a blue text and it's underlined. And what you can do with this is just fix that, underline it, and then change the color back to black. But it's still quite a bit faster than typing all that in yourself, and it gives you the page number there as well. So it's an easy way of bringing in citations with the proper formatting directly from Logos. So those are just a couple of research tips. It's better to organize yourself early as you start your research on this. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.